Hello, my friend of shared destiny. There is a heartbreaking paradox that we have long inadvertently forgotten, that the human body was originally designed to heal itself most brilliantly every night. However, the reality is that most of us are sleeping without ever being restored. Try to still your heart and recognize yourself. Have you ever lain down in bed, turned off the lights, and closed your eyes in a silent room in this distant land? Yet your nervous system continued to race as if it were still daytime? The mind continues to restlessly analyze things past, worrying about things yet to come, and your muscles remain tightened by an unnamed tension that has not been released for a long time. The consequence is, your physical body has lain down, but your nervous system is actually still standing guard. And as long as that sentry refuses to sit down, the doors to cellular overhaul and hormonal balance will remain forever locked. Tonight, I want to return to you a minimalist secret that monastics have understood since ancient times, with just exactly 3 minutes before closing your eyelids to send a definitive safety code. You have the power to recalibrate your entire nervous system and transform the long night into a brilliant journey of rebirth for your being. That journey officially begins right now. The ultimate condition for recovery. Let us understand together a profound law of vitality that is silently operating within you at this very moment. The human body is actually a masterpiece of nature, inherently designed with an incredibly sophisticated self-repair mechanism meant to activate every night. While your eyes are closed, a symphony of recovery begins to play within your flesh. Recovery hormones are secreted to nourish every tired cell tissues damaged after a long, arduous day, are silently regenerated, and your immune system, like sacred guardians, quietly strengthens its power to protect the kingdom of the body. Even the brain performs a sacred purification, removing metabolic waste accumulated from thousands of thought streams to return clarity to you tomorrow. However, all these biological miracles can only happen under one single condition. You must truly enter a state of restorative mode. This is a space where the heart rate gently slows down, breathing finds its harbor in the depths, muscles completely melt away, and the nervous system receives a ceasefire command. Regrettably, most of us enter the darkness while the body is still stuck in alert mode. Although lying still, your brain is busy solving the equations of the future. The muscle bundles in your jaw and shoulders still tighten a silent armor of defense, and your breathing remains shallow and fast, as if in an exhausting race in a distant land. When the nervous system stubbornly holds on to the warning signal, your body interprets, right now, it is not yet safe to repair. And so, vitality, instead of being used to revive the self, is squeezed dry just to maintain useless vigilance throughout the long night. You may have slept enough in terms of time, but true healing remains standing outside the threshold. Tonight, I invite you to learn how to change that command so your body can do what it inherently understands best: heal itself. 3 Destiny Minutes. The Code of Peace of Mind. My dear friend, after understanding the silent mechanism of the mind and body, perhaps you wonder, do I need to undergo hours of harsh meditation or seek a distant remedy to recover my vitality? The answer lies in a miraculous minimalism. To activate the ultimate healing power, your body does not need a grand revolution. It only needs exactly 3 minutes of sincerity, the moment you stand at the threshold of the darkness. This is absolutely not a complex mental exercise or an effort to think positively. This is actually a precise biological message sent directly to the nervous system. That message is simply a sacred confirmation. The long day has truly closed. Now, you are completely safe to revive. This ritual begins when you have truly separated yourself from the agitations of the hurried industrial life out there. The lights are off. The space holds only soft, dim light, and the phone. The source of disturbance has been placed far out of reach. Lie peacefully on your warm bed in this distant land, feeling the tolerant support of the mattress beneath your back, which is weary from many years of hardship. In the first few seconds, I invite you to perform the most courageous act of consciousness. Do nothing at all. Do not try to change your breathing rhythm. Do not force yourself to be still immediately. Just leisurely be a silent witness. Observe your breath exactly as it is. Is it fast or slow? Shallow or deep? Steady or unsteady? The moment you give your breath non-judgmental attention, your nervous system begins to feel the first breeze of soothing. Now, gently place a hand on your lower abdomen. Do not place your hand on your chest, for the chest has long been the place where anxieties and defenses are constricted. The abdomen, in ancient wisdom, is the most primitive emotional response center of humans. Feel the warmth from your palm silently permeating through your clothes, soothing your own vital center. And here is the code for you to press the reset button for the brain. Every time you begin to breathe out, actively prolong that breath a little more. Do not use force. Let the exhale flow smoothly, leisurely, one gentle beat longer than the inhale. Imagine the exhale now is like a sigh of relief after you have dropped a 1,000-pound burden to finally set foot at your doorstep. Under the lens of modern science, the act of prolonging the exhale is the most effective way to awaken the vagus nerve. This is the largest cable transmitting piece running along the body, directly connecting the brain with the heart, lungs, and digestive system. When this nerve receives the signal from slow breathing, it issues a definitive biological command to every cell. The war has truly ended. There is no more danger here. Now, you are allowed to rest. Feel your shoulders begin to drop, melting into the mattress. Your jaw releases, loosening space for relaxation. The abdomen begins to rise and fall softly in absolute surrender. You are officially closing the door of survival to enter the kingdom of the most brilliant revival in the darkness. Minute 2. The Art of Silent Witnessing. Imagine your attention now is like gentle moonlight slowly illuminating a still lake in the middle of a clear night in this distant land. After sending the code of peace through the breath, in this second minute, I invite you to gently leave behind all efforts of adjustment. You do not need to continue mastering the breathing rhythm. Just let the body operate its own natural melody. Now, shift your entire awareness deep inside the kingdom of the body. My friend of shared destiny, please remember, this is not the time for you to relentlessly search for painful areas to worry about, nor the time to use logic to dissect where you are broken. Simply listen to the whole body as a unified whole, leisurely and tolerantly. You might identify a glowing warmth spreading in your palm, a gentle weight pulling your shoulders deep into the support of the mattress, or spaces that are almost empty, strangely serene. You do not need to effort to understand or label these sensations. The true miracle lies here. The moment you choose to listen instead of control, your analytical brain will officially receive its retirement orders. When the control of the will steps back, a liberating command will be sent out. The most sophisticated automated systems, from the circulatory flow of blood and the regulation of hormonal rhythms to the mending of every tired cell, will naturally find their way back to the most perfect state of operation. You do not need to effort to get well. You are just courageously stopping the obstruction of that process by the imposition of logic. Let the being perform its function in boundless silence. Minute 3. The Pinnacle of Surrender. And now, we reach the final threshold, the peak of minimalism, the third minute, the minute of absolute non-action. After soothing the body and calming the mind with tolerant listening, I invite you to take the most courageous step of the soul at this very moment. Stop all effort. At this instant, please do not try to sleep, do not try to relax, and absolutely do not wait for any miraculous sign to happen. Do not be the observer of the breath anymore, nor relentlessly monitor whether your mind has truly become still. Empathize with a liberating truth. Healing is not something you can make with your will, but a grace that only manifests when your ego completely lets go. When you stop molding reality to your will, your body will recognize an ultimate safety signal. You will see your shoulders suddenly become soft, melting completely into the mattress. Your body becomes heavy in a leisurely way, as if sinking deep into the ocean of eternal silence. But my friend engraved this final code so as not to interrupt the flow of vitality taking shape. True healing only begins at the very moment you courageously stop monitoring and stop opening the third eye to check whether that process has taken place or not. Tonight, allow yourself to become undetermined in the tolerant arms of the darkness. Do not be the seeker of healing anymore. Be the sleep itself. When you stop controlling, that is also when the greatest power of revival begins to operate fully within your every blood vessel. Everything is completed. Just let yourself drift away, leisurely and clean. Subtle mistakes, the trap of the supervisor. Think of a healthy seed that you have just sincerely planted in the heart of Mother Earth in your garden in this distant land. After watering and nurturing, the only wise action for the gardener to perform is to let that seed be peaceful in the silent darkness. If out of impatience you dig up the soil every hour to check if roots have grown or if the green sprout has stretched, you are inadvertently blocking its own flow of vitality. My friend, in the journey of inner healing every night, we often inadvertently make a subtle mistake exactly like that. Right after completing the 3 minutes of letting go, our mind begins to sign a hidden contract full of craving. We lie there, eyes closed, but the heart is still secretly opening a third eye to watch for results. You ask yourself, did I breathe correctly? Why do my shoulders still feel a bit heavy? Or, why hasn't sleep actually arrived after 10 minutes? It is this silent expectation that creates the most subtle type of tension surrounding your nervous system. In the language of the brain, monitoring and checking are always synonymous with an alarm signal. When you supervise your progress, the nervous system interprets, the problem has not been solved yet. The task is still there, so I must stay awake to manage it. You inadvertently turn your bed into a high-pressure laboratory, where you play both the role of the anxious patient and the doctor eagerly waiting for a miracle. This is the sacred paradox of awareness. The more you effort to relax, the more you will find yourself tightened. The more impatiently you chase recovery, the more the nervous system tightens its control. Understand a liberating truth to soothe your being. The human body is a masterpiece, carrying the peerless autonomic wisdom of nature. It does not need the witness or applause of anyone to perform the miracle of neuronal recovery or cellular regeneration. Engrave this final code into your heart. The deepest overhaul only truly begins at the very moment your body feels completely no longer supervised by your will. Tonight, take a courageous step. Fire this internal supervisor. Do not try to do it right, and do not wait for any miraculous signal tomorrow morning. When you dare to ignore whether you are being healed or not, that is when the door of recovery is truly opened most brilliantly. Wisdom of the monks, the art of closing the old day. Imagine your mind now as like an ancient house that you have worked hard to maintain throughout many years of hardship in this distant land. Throughout a long day, you have opened all the doors to welcome many guests, worries for children, plans for the future, and agitations from the world outside. However, there is an ultimate art that monastics always preserve to protect their vitality, which is temporary renunciation. The monks of the deep forest understand a profound wisdom. Your body absolutely cannot perform its ultimate healing function if the mind still deludes itself into thinking today has not truly ended. Most of us often carry our entire life file to bed. We lie down, but the brain still silently operates background programs in the dark. We relentlessly search for solutions to past conflicts, arrange unresolved financial troubles, or worry about tomorrow's responsibilities. Inadvertently, you are forcing the nervous system to work overtime in the middle of the night. This discreet awakening is the most solid barrier blocking vitality from flowing back to mend fractures in neurons and wash away the exhaustion of the self. Tonight, I invite you to take the most courageous step of consciousness. Right before starting the 3 minutes of the ritual, perform a definitive inner gesture. Gently declare to yourself a mantra full of spiritual sovereignty. For the next hours, I have nothing to resolve. Please listen very carefully to the weight of this affirmation. This is absolutely not an act of escaping responsibility or indifference to life. This is a command of wisdom, a sacred confirmation that the working session of consciousness has truly ended. Neuroscience has proven that when the mind receives a definitive closed order, the brain will immediately stop running simulation scenarios of dread. Your nervous system, which has long been as tight as a guitar string, finally has the courage to completely lay down its arms. Allow yourself to become anonymous for the next few hours. You are no longer the worried breadwinner, not the mother always anxious for her children, nor the patient relentlessly searching for a cure. You are simply a pure, precious life, opening your heart to be soothed by the universe. Only when you dare to let the world wait outside the bedroom door can your body truly have enough resources to perform the most brilliant miracle of rebirth in the darkness. Let vitality circulate freely, because right now, your only task is to be well within your own silence. Granting power to sleep, the art of dissolving into the void. Greetings, friend of shared destiny. When the 3 minutes of letting go have gradually passed, it is also the time you stand at the deepest and most mysterious threshold of the long night. At this time, I invite you to perform a final step of surrender. Also, the most courageous step of consciousness. Let sleep itself find its way to pick you up. Throughout a life of wandering in this distant land, we have become too accustomed to having to master every situation, to efforting to achieve results, and to watching every fluctuation of life. But my dear friend, in the wisdom of awareness, there is a truth that our controlling ego often finds very hard to accept. Deep sleep is not an achievement created by you. It is a grace that only manifests when all control completely ceases. At this level, please do not try to sleep, and absolutely do not try to keep yourself awake. Stop playing the role of the practitioner of ritual. Let the breath follow its own rhythm, like the rhythm of waves lapping against a peaceful shore every night in the coastal regions of America that you often gaze upon. Let the heart beat its own symphony of life without any surveillance or command from your logic. When consciousness begins to fade, when the vague images of dreams begin to flicker and arise, please do not cling to them to analyze, nor fear that you are losing your alertness. Be like a drop of water slowly dissolving into the vast ocean. No form, no purpose, no longer any separation between your being and the tolerant darkness. The nature of ultimate restoration is the temporary disappearance of the ego that always wants to arrange everything. When you accept losing the right to govern consciousness for the next few hours, you are giving your body a unique opportunity to enter the deepest repair cycles, the spiritual and biological lands that logic could never touch. Tonight, allow yourself to be undetermined. Let sleep do its own sacred work. You are simply returning, leisurely and clean, dissolving completely into the boundless silence of the universe. You are safe, you are well, and you are truly being protected in the arms of absolute surrender. Healing is a climate. When vitality revives itself, try to quietly contemplate the way spring gently replaces the freezing winter in America. There is no stormy effort that melts the snow, nor any urgent command that forces flowers and grass to sprout brilliantly overnight. That great transformation takes place very silently and subtly, only through warmth gradually permeating the heart of Mother Earth each day until the atmosphere changes and natural life is revived. Your recovery journey also operates according to an identical profound rhythm. If you persistently water your consciousness with this 3-minute ritual every night, after a long enough time, you will begin to identify the miraculous shifts that we have long desired. One morning you wake up, you suddenly find your shoulders feeling as light as air, no longer carrying the heavy burdens of the old day. You realize your daily breathing has suddenly become vast and deeper, even during the busiest moments of life in this distant land. The agitations in your chest gradually give way to a vague but certain well-being, and you feel your body easily following the relaxation whenever twilight falls. My friend, please understand this with all your wisdom, that change occurs not because you have efforted to do more, but precisely because you have courageously intervened less. You become healthy, not through struggle, but because you have stopped using vitality to feed the nervous system's ghosts of vigilance. The ultimate truth is that the human body inherently carries within it the most extraordinary and faithful wisdom. Every cell, every blood vessel thoroughly understands how to self-repair without any instruction from logic. The only thing that frequently stops that miraculous process is chronic stress. When your nervous system is always in a red alert state due to daily worries, the 3-minute night reset every evening, therefore, is not a magical technique to create health. It is the way you clarify the environment to establish a condition, a state, or in the language of wisdom, a climate of healing. When you create the atmosphere of safety, surrender, and absolute silence right before resting, your body will naturally understand that it has been granted a license of freedom to begin the deepest overhaul work. And when that environment appears, your entire being will perform the remaining sacred work while you are sleeping. Healing, after all, is the reward of the silence and absolute trust that you have gifted to your own self.